So when I was a little kid, my favorite thing to do was to plan and build, do drawings of underground forts. I was really into creating secret places, and I always wanted to make an underground house. And, you know, I would take a piece of paper and I would draw the door and then like the secret chamber. And then there was like the kitchen area. And then there was always an escape hatch. And I even knew where in the yard I would do this. And I would always, I'd have my friend over and we'd have the big plan and then we'd get a shovel and we'd start digging and we'd get like a foot into the bank. So I never actually like created it, but I spent so long planning it. And I love planning. And I realized early on that planning is almost as good as doing the thing. And I still love planning. And I think I love about art is it's really hands-on. But making it and pulling this whole thing off is tricky and it's complicated and it takes a lot of time and resources and psychological stuff and but if you can plan a little bit and get yourself organized, it can be way easier. So I thought I would just share, in thinking about the year coming up, 5 ways or 5 ideas that I think are really helpful and really important to just fortify your practice, which will result in stronger work. This is Nicholas Wilton, and this is Art to Life. And I'm talking about what is some ideas, the 5 kind of key ideas, I think, for really optimizing your work, especially looking at the year coming up. How can I be different? What are the things I need to remember to just get this work even better than it already is in 2021? So the first one, which has been a huge one for me, especially during COVID, and was setting up times, scheduling a time that you come into your studio. And you look at this, again, it's planning, which planning is fun. Like that's not hard to do. Sitting down with a piece of paper, looking at the week ahead on a Sunday and marking those days that you're going to be coming to the studio. Like, I'll come in on Tuesday, Friday, and Thursday at 12 o'clock. And it's not so hard to write that in because there's nothing really in the way. If you get on it early, if you take a Sunday and you look at your week ahead and you put in 4 or 5 days or 3 days, whatever it is, even a short amount of time, doesn't matter, right? Just those are the times. And that becomes like the rocks in your week that then you fit everything else around. And it gets more complicated. It's like a shell game. Once new things start coming in, you've got to move things and juggle things. But this is the most important, just planning that time so you kind of come into it. The other piece to remember is, because this part used to get me down and this frame of mind, and I'm sure you've heard me talk about this because I think it's so important, to just remember that little and often is almost better than coming in for a full day. Even if you only have half an hour, even if you only have 45 minutes, just coming in when you say you're going to come in. So what I do is I try to leave time. If I say I'm going to come in on a Wednesday at 1 o'clock, I try to leave time for 3 hours, but invariable things crouch in, they like crowd in. And so I only get an hour or an hour and a half or half an hour even. What's important and what keeps you buoyant is the fact that you're doing it, that you show up and you did it. You're following a pattern of what you planned, not necessarily pulling off 2 hours every single day, which is impossible. And because you don't, that discourages you and you lose momentum. So that's another really important thing. So that's scheduling it, it's establishing those big rocks in the week, remembering that it's little and often, and then controlling that environment in the studio. And this is about when you're in the studio, becoming really present and dropping into that flow state. What allows you to do that? Is it the music you play? Do you need to turn your phone off? Do you need to, you want to be fully immersed in it? And anything that can do that is really important, because you can spend a lot of time just doing stuff and not really making art. Being present is how you leverage your time. If you can learn to drop into that, and it could be, maybe it is turning off the phone, maybe it's putting headphones on with music, maybe it's, closing the doors so nobody can come in. That makes a huge difference. Presence is how you access your intuition, and all the magic that happens in your work will happen in that when you get in that headspace, that flow state. Super, super important. So it's not just a numbers game. It's not just, oh, I had 2 hours or I had 6 hours this week. It's like you can have half an hour, but if you're present, you can just do so much. You can get so much done and really push, really make progress with that. The fourth one is rededicate yourself to only making things you really care about. It seems so simple, but if you remember that, and you just like write that on your studio wall, so you have a bar to where because you get complete control, you get complete freedom. But it's amazing how easy it is to slip into a habit of like, oh, this is kind of what I always do, and I'm gonna be out of here in an hour. Only make things you love. Only make things that you really, really care about. At least set the boat in that direction. Often it doesn't turn out as good. You don't always love what you make. But if you start that way, there's more likelihood that it'll stay that way. So I write that on my wall. Just that's the gold standard. You just really got to care about it, and this is going to change. See, that's why it's important to by doing this and going over these for the new year, you're recalibrating. You're taking this new idea that now the kind of work you're making beginning of this year coming up is totally different than the kind of work you were making at the beginning of this last year. So this is a question that you want to be constantly asking yourself. And if you can get in the habit of just checking in with what you care about, it will make the work much, much stronger, mostly for you. So you stay energized and people can pick up on that energy. The art can feel stronger because you feel stronger about it and you're energized by it. And the last one is about inspiration and how you optimize yourself. So it's bringing in more. Like when in doubt, you're walking down the street, and I do this all the time. I'm walking down the street and I see something cool, a pine cone or whatever, it's kind of interesting. I'll take a picture of it, but more importantly, I'll get the thing. I'll just take it. I can always throw it away later. I bring stuff in to my studio that reminds me of ideas or gives me a clue of what I might be wanting to make coming up. There's a reason we notice things when we're out in the world. And if you can just keep pulling those in, and I mean, there's no limit. It doesn't hurt you to have more of these things if they're current. Now, you don't want your studio to become like overfilled with junk, but junk is stuff that's not useful. New stuff that you're finding, photographs, cameras are tricky because you don't tend to look at them, I'm finding. So if you can get the thing and bring it in and put it in the studio and notice it when you come back in, that's powerful. And it makes a really, really fertile environment for yourself. So anyway, those are the sort of the 5 things that if I'm paying attention to those, it makes a huge difference. And again, you have to upgrade to this thinking, modernize it to where you are in your life. And then your art will reflect where you are in your life. You're right. You want to be right on the cutting edge of who you are and how you're becoming you, how you're changing, and how your art is right there with you. It's not a year and a half behind you. Who you are, who you're becoming, and your art mirrors that. That's the juicy kind of art, not only to make, but for people to experience and become attracted to. Anyway, I'd love to hear how you optimize yourself and what you're thinking of doing, and what changes you want to make for the next year that's going to help your art, because there's a ton of them, and this would be really cool to crowdsource this in our community. So thanks for being here. And again, for those of you who are new here, please click on the link below, join our free artist Facebook group. There's some amazing stuff going on. I hope your Sunday is really great. I hope your holidays are going great. And I will talk to you real soon. Thanks. Hey everyone, if you found this helpful, I have a whole lot more to teach, share, and inspire you with every single week. So please join the Art to Life YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button below. Okay, great. Let's do this.